More than a that, more than a that.
Join the More Than a Dad family by following us on Instagram, subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to join our Facebook group for daily questions, motivation, dad jokes, and new dad tips. If you enjoy our podcast, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Be sure to like, comment, and share our content with other parents. Last but not least, make sure you check out our new merch. The link is in the bio of our Instagram as well as the description of this YouTube video. We are truly grateful, and thanks for supporting More Than a Dad.
Welcome to More Than a Dad podcast. I'm your host, Dre Moore, and I got my co-host here with me. I don't usually do this, y'all. Lou Mode.
What's goody? What's goody?
What's up, bro? How you living? How you feeling? How's parent life? How's dad life?
Oh man, dad life is in full effect, man. My 5-month-old daughter, man, giving me hell. You know, you got. On? Listen, man, it's crazy when you parent and you really understand the different cries. When you can understand, yo, damn, that might be a tired cry, like you might gotta go lay her down, or the hungry cry, or like the cry that she will never hear, like when she get hurt, like yo, something hurting her. You know what I mean? Like it's like you can speak her language. Yeah, you can speak her language, like you know. Yeah, man. So my dad life is dad life, and bro.
True. I could say the same. Dad life been, you know, ashes. A work piece.
Yeah, piece of work, man.
Piece of work, man. Yeah. It's a blessing, but it's been good. I say it's been good since the last time we talked. It's been good.
Yeah, man. Let's just get into it, man.
All right. Well, today I wanted to talk about just breaking generational curses. You know, so like as fathers, dads, heads of households, just having our kids grow up a little bit differently than we grew up. You know what I'm saying? Not that we grew up in the worst environment, but, you know, a generational curse is a thing. Sometimes you can pass that trauma and those things down, you know, to your kids inadvertently. I'm sure people don't do it on purpose, but a lot of times, you know, your children will walk the lines that you walk. So I just wanted to have a conversation with you about, you know, breaking some of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I think our generation is doing a good job of that, right? So, like, I always talk to you about image, right? You know, if I'm a guy who didn't have a dad, like, to learn to be a man and learn to be a dad, you're already trying to break a cycle, you know, and being present and being involved and, like, you know, everything that this podcast stands for, like, going above and beyond, not leaving everything to be done by a mother, you know, or a grandma, or I picked up the kids, but I went and dropped them off at my parents' crib, and now I'm back out here doing whatever. Like, I think all of these things are generational curses. Like, you know, I think even like, because you get to a certain point, like you see, like, you have a kid, it's the long game.
Right.
It's the long game. You know, sometimes in maturity, you don't come into that right away. So you unfortunately pass on, hey, dad wasn't here. I don't remember him being here in kindergarten, picking me up from school because he was still, because in his head as dad, I got a lifetime to get back.
Right.
I got a lifetime to fix it, you know. So, you know, I talk to you a lot about going to school, going to college and graduating and trying to make it in corporate America. And it's like, my dad didn't have that much education, and I'm way further out than where my mom and them were,
right? You
know, in a success standpoint, but I hope to keep trailblazing, so I break that generational curse in my family that, you know, we can aspire to have 6-figure jobs easy and, you know, aspire to be homeowners and all these things that I didn't see in every direction around me in my neighborhood and in my family, you know. So it's a lot of things that are, you know, having kids too young, not being able to take care of your kids, and, you know, like, guys are successful. You know, I look around and see my friends as successful. They provide, they protect, they're involved in their kids' lives. I can't be more proud of my friends.
Right.
You know, and I'm even more proud from a point like, say, you know, let's say 30 years ago, dads were missing or whatever. In my friend group today, imagine trying to do that in our friend group. How quick you would get straightened out by by the homies. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. We be having interventions. You already know.
Yeah, man. Come over and watch the Eagles game. Come watch the Sixers and get here, and it be 10 of us.
Right, it'll be a setup. We gotta move the furniture because we might have to fight in this joint.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm passionate. I'm just passionate about it, man. Like, you know, even I know things can be challenging. You know, everybody's situations are different. Like, I'm not ever here to teach people how to parent or how to be dads.
Right. That's a
I'm
fact.
here to just share a perspective and an experience, and maybe you resonate and you connect with it, or maybe you grew up like that too. You know,
Right.
and like I said, I'm just fortunate to have had a dad that was involved, and just to, in my eyes, just to be taking it further than what he did.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, and that's important, you know, and that's why I say, like, you know, take my good and leave my bad, because a lot of we be having a lot of bad habits that we probably learned from somewhere. So, you know, like, you got people that, like, they beat their kids because they was beat.
Mm.
And it's things like that you pass down, like, you just passing down trauma to children. Like, everything doesn't require a physical confrontation. Some things you fix with words, especially, you know, like, you can, if they can understand, then, you know, like, we fix it with words. Another, like, a big thing outside of that was just like an example, but like a big thing that, like, I think about, like, when I think about how we grew up then and, like, things we know now, is like credit. Like, those conversations about credit, like, just weren't happening at home, cuz
Right.
like, you know that your credit is messed up because you got bad credit. After I done did something crazy, I messed my credit up, and now I gotta fix it. That's a generational curse within itself.
No, and I feel the same way about, like, in my family, if you was to come home and you got a new car, you got a note, you got a lease, like, getting a car was championed like you work for Microsoft and you building chips.
That's
You know
a
what I'm saying?
fact.
Like, you came home, you got a used Impala, you know what I'm saying? and it got a note on it still, and it's still certified pre-owned. You lit, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's crazy. One thing I want to say is, like, even with my mom, I noticed as I got older, you know, my mom was awesome. Always has been awesome with schoolwork and helping me get where I got educationally, right? But my mom has a lot of, like, which we call anxiety now. We used to call it, mommy got bad nerves, you know? My mom is very worrisome and, like, quote unquote, like, scared, you know?
Right.
And, like, my mom be like, you gonna do that for real? And not knowing it growing up, that was teaching me I can't.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Like,
you can't do that.
If
Or
you'd have let that deter you.
yeah, and, like, it took me going to college and being around different people, seeing different family dynamics. Oh, that ain't normal. I can do that. I can aspire to be this, and this, and, you know, like, take risk. Like,
Right.
I grew up in a house where everything was so secure and safe, and, you know, my dad wanted me to dream large, but at the same time, my mom is like, she need guarantees and stuff like that. And, like, I don't know. I just know that I hear my mom say I can't so much today.
Right.
And I wonder how that affected me as a child, because I dreamed so big. I went for everything, just about everything I could, you know, juggling
Right.
what I was juggling. I went for it. So, you know, I made sure when I'm handling Manny and stuff like that, oh, daddy, I can't do it. Man, you better not ever say that in this house.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. But that's another that's another generational curse, bro. Like, it's those things that that we aren't even aware of, that you may be doing, that someone may be doing, that could be a hindrance down the line to your children. So, like, I just feel like, you know, like, we big on, you know, breaking those things, breaking those stigmas, breaking those stereotypes, just doing something different than the norm, and actually, like, pushing the envelope. And that leads me to my next point of just saying, I wanted to also ask you about giving your kids freedom, allowing your kids to have a voice, allowing them to be them, trusting their judgment. Those things are, like, important, because this is, we're beyond our generation now. Like, our generation is behind us.
Right.
This is a new generation. Our kids are growing up in this generation. This is their generation. And we are going to have to trust their judgment. So towing that line between being a parent, sheltering them, and trusting their judgment, what'd you think about it?
No,
You didn't want to think about it?
Before we get there, I do want to say something about
Oh,
the
wow.
last topic real quick. Was even down to like playing, black kids in the city only play basketball and football, right? I don't really care if Manny play football ever, and I mean that sincerely.
Right.
My wife is like, man, she as a woman, she don't want him to have all the contact, and have CTE and stuff like that.
CTE,
But my thing is, I just don't really want these fake stigmas and profiles and stereotypes. Like, who's to say that Manny can't be an all-world golfer, an astronaut, and love to take pictures and photography? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
who's to say that because he grow up close to the city, he got to play football and he got to do these in the box things, you know what I mean?
Right.
So to me, just like I said, breaking generational curses, All right, back to your current question.
Yeah, trusting the judgment.
Trusting the judgment, I think, hate to double back to my dad, but I think that's what my dad did with me.
Right.
He let me go to school, find out what crowd I wanted to hang with, and he let me become my own leader, even though when I was doing what I wanted to do, at the time, oh boy, he weird over there, or he, you know what I mean? But, I stayed the course, I always stay true to my person.
Right.
So I hope to have enough confidence in his judgment, or I'll guide him until I feel comfortable in his judgment
Okay.
to do that. I don't plan to like shelter them to death. My wife is a little bit more anxious with stuff like that, very
Right.
overprotective, but I try to give him range. Like, even down to like stuff like if he fall and he cry, like I try not to react.
Right.
I try to do a lot of things opposite of her. I play off of her, like, you know what I mean? So handling, giving him space, allowing his judgment, allowing him to kind of choose his friends and where he fit in this world. I hope to be that open to that.
Right.
I always tell her we're going to parent and have very, very loose, very, very loose guidelines, guardrails. Like,
Yeah, because you don't want to dull a person.
yes,
Like, you want them to have the freedom to like allow them to be them.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And I feel like I'm big on that with like my kids, and just like I want to trust you to be able to make your own decisions and do the right thing with those decisions. Because I feel like my parents were very like they weren't super overbearing, but it was like a shelter. Like, I feel like a lot of things I've done was in like rebellion for the fact that like feeling like y'all not gonna let me do this. Like I forgot how old I was under 18 when I got my first tattoo at a tat party, and I probably had like hid it for like months until like it was on my arm. So I was asleep one day and like my sleeve was up. My mom saying it was flipping out. But I just think about it like those are like things like and every new tattoo that I got, my parents would like hate. They hated them. Like, I hate that you got these things on you. And like the more that they hated it, the more it was like I'm gonna get another one. So yeah, like like because we just like you got older parents, I got older parents. So like my dad was born in 1938, and my mom isn't much younger than my dad, so she's born in the 50s. My parents don't like listen to rap, bro. They don't. All of those things were like, you can't listen to this here. So now it's like, man, I'm gonna get in my car, I'm gonna turn the radio up as loud as it could go and just blast rap music.
I think that got a lot to do. You talk about like I hope to always be the cool parent, right? That I'm aware of what's going on and I'm as trendy as possible, right?
Right.
But when you feel like your parent outdated, that's how you react. Like, man, you don't know this rap. You don't know 50 Cent. You don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know this.
That's a fact.
I remember my mom first let me get when she bought me 50 Get Rich or Die Trying album. And then she heard the lyrics on it. Was like, I can't believe I bought this for you.
Yeah, I had a similar experience with the first album my mom ever bought me was Baller Blocking, Cash Money, Hot Boys. And man, that joint came on. First I was like, sun up, sun down, get my grind on. She took that joint out the CD player so fast, like, man, you not listening to this.
Oh my God.
Like, yo, you can't even have this joint. I'm like, yo, this is like insane. But
that joint was like 50 don't back down.
yeah,
It was all this nonsense. She was just like looking at me like, you like this? I'm like, yeah. She's like,
yeah, it's great. And it's just, but that's why I say, like, you know, they're in their own generation now. So like they got TikToks, Snapchat, like stuff we just don't do. Like I don't Snapchat, I don't have a TikTok. Like, but that's things they do, and like it's just even down to the way they dress. Everything about their generation is different. So like you just gotta have the ability to like instill certain core values in your children, and then trust their judgment with the rest of it.
You know, you just made me think of how scared I am for them a little bit. You know, like how we had to learn how to do math the long way before we were privileged to have a calculator, right?
Right.
Now they have
math is crazy, bro.
Yeah, I don't know how they teaching math these days. People scaring me,
bro. It's nuts. I can't.
It's like counting above and coming back.
I couldn't even. Everything is like place value. Put these things into blocks. Like they got procedures just to get to regular answers, and like I can't even. It's like it's looking at like Chinese arithmetic to me, bro.
Wow.
But I can't even explain it on here to like articulate it in a way that the listeners would even understand for me to even explain it. But it's crazy.
No, it's just like I said. I just think we still learn how to do things the long way, and it's like in their day and time with all the technology they got, why would they ever be without a calculator today?
Right.
Like you put things into Excel. You know you got your phone got a calculator. Like when would I actually had to learn how to do long division? You dig?
Yeah, but they teaching it. But that's what I'm saying. The stuff like you had to, like your kid's not school age yet, but like you gonna see it. Like you're gonna look at it like I don't even understand that. Like I could tell you what the answer is, and like we have that back and forth. Like I had that back and forth with the kids. Like they be like, oh, do this. I'm like, the answer is this, and they're like, nah, you got to do it by this procedure. And I'm like, but y'all, we got to the same answer. It just took you 10 minutes longer than it took me to get to the answer. Like you got to see it, bro. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts. And I'm drawing a blank.
No, it's all good, man. We here.
A blank. I wanted to touch on. What did I want to touch on? I wanted to touch on. Oh yeah, this is important. I don't know how I was drawing a blank on that. The balance. It's similar to the last question, but the balance between being a parent and being a friend.
I'm going through that. Like I keep talking about. Like I'm trying to be prepared for things, right? I'm trying to up my friend stuff now, like, being loving, being down to earth, being patient, because I don't, like, sometimes I say we sitting in here in the living room and Toy Story's on, my wife got the baby, and instead of interacting with Manny in a positive manner, I'm sitting here on my phone or I'm not present, right? And the only thing that I'm saying to him is, Manny, stop this. Right. Manny, quiet down. And everything is a directive,
right?
Clean up. Right. Everything is not on his level,
right?
It's all the things that he don't love about me is happening because I'm stopping him from doing what he want to do. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to, like, me and my son play fight now, like before bed every day. We play fight. He made up this freeze game. I don't know what it is, but we play it. Right. And he runs up to me, Daddy, let's play freeze. Daddy, let's play fight. And I love it, and that to me, that's just trying to not always be do this, do that. You know what I mean? Like, because you naturally fall into that. Because, I'm a regular person, right? I'm busy running something for the pod, so I'm not really paying them attention.
Right.
But as a parent, man, stop throwing that over there. And then you don't realize the last 20 things you said to him is stop this, stop yelling, stop. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that becomes your interaction. So he goes to sleep that night, and that's what Daddy did all yesterday when I finally was with Daddy. After I went to daycare, we ate dinner, and Daddy did that for 4 hours, and I went to bed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to me, talking about balance and being a friend and being a parent, you gotta find. You know what? He might be doing that for my attention. Let me stop editing this video right now. Let me stop trying to post something on the gram or whatever I'm doing.
Right.
Let me get off this phone
Right.
and give him some attention.
True that.
You know, so that would just be my take on it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because when it's a thin line. It's definitely a thin line between like you don't want to be too much of a friend and not enough parent, and then you don't want to be too much parent, not enough friend, because at a certain age, you're gonna want your kids to be able to come and talk to you,
And have comfort.
right? And like I can have because it's gonna be some real conversations. Like it's gonna be things that you don't want your kids to hide from you because they feel like they can't talk to you. You also can't be too much of a friend because to me in my mind I always relate that to like stunting your growth because I still got to be your parent. Like I
Right.
always say, like I moved out my mom's house because they wasn't cool, like they wasn't my friends. Like so like that helped me get on and get up out of here because like they wasn't cool. Like while I had friends, oh, shit.
Do you feel like they made you uncomfortable so you can grow as a person?
Nah, I just think that's who they were.
Oh, all right. I was trying to take some metaphoric.
Nah,
approach.
that was dope. That was bro. Like no, that was just
Nah,
they was just old school. They done been on this earth all this time, and it's my way.
You know, I got something for this little question you have. So, growing up on my street on Napper Street, I'm in South Philly. This is crazy. So there was a mom and a son on the street, right? And the son was like, say, like 15 years old, 16 years old, and he was sneaking to go smoke some weed. Like that's what he would do. We would just go to the schoolyard, and he would go smoke. And it's crazy. She just started smoking with him. Like you ain't got to hide this from me.
Right.
And we could smoke together, and I don't want nobody to lace your weed and all. And I was just like, I just thought it was the craziest
Crazy
thing.
dynamic, right?
Like, but in her head, I guess she thought that was right. That's something I probably would never do.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't. But in her mind, she probably felt like he gonna do it anyway. So at least he could do it under my supervision. I understand the logic.
the logic, yeah. But I don't think that equate to like where you need to be as a parent.
Nah. It don't. But but you know your kid.
Yeah,
She probably know he gonna do this anyway. She just took.
yeah. You gonna just break down the bud with
Yeah,
your
she
kid?
just took the
Come on.
solace in it. But I mean, I'm not going to do it personally because, like I said, that's a part of comfortability. Like I have friends who like, oh, I'm not going to never like move out my parents' house because like I could smoke in here, or I could bring girls through here, or I could do whatever I want in here. I could come and go as I please, and I don't have to pay anything. Like my mom and them wasn't cool, bro. Like you're not coming in here when you want. You're not smoking in here. I don't smoke around my mom to this day. We don't even smoke. Like it's funny because my cousins and them was clowning me like the day when my pop passed. We was sitting out there on the out on the back. Well, at this is the day of the funeral. I want to say we was sitting all out back, and my mom was out there, but she was out there like smoking with him, and like I had got one of my aunts to like I'm like yo go grab my mom and take her in, and she took her in, and so then I started smoking. So my cousin, he gonna say to me, he like, Dad, you had to make your mom go in there so you could smoke. I'm like, yeah, we don't smoke with each other. We ain't cool like that. Like that ain't still my mom.
Right.
At the end of the day, and we got that respect, and like she respect me for respecting her in that way. Like she don't do it in front of me, and I don't do it in front of her.
Right.
We know, but we don't do it in front of each other. It's just because like it's a boundary. Like so, like we just understand that boundary.
You know what's dope though? Like as much as I hear you're rebellious, like I never been rebellious, right? Like I always been like a good kid. You feel me? And like I think ultimately I was okay with whatever my mom and them was telling me to do, right? Like even if it was like you trying to stay out, you want your homies to spend the night or something, and it's just like no, they can't. Ultimately, I was cool because I trusted them and respected them that way. And I don't think I ever really like fully tried to overstep that boundary, right? Like,
Right.
and I think we my parents and I had a very healthy relationship throughout the time. You know, not because I felt like I can't come to them with stuff. You know, I obviously I kept what needed to be kept from my parents, like any other kid. But
That's
for
a
the
fact.
most part, like I always could talk to my dad. You know, for the most part, like if I really had to say this to my mom, I could tell her. You
It
know,
might not go over well, but you could tell her.
yeah, and I think not even worried about if it went over well. I just never wanted to disappoint them. Like
Yeah,
like
that's
everything that I do, I start, I finish, I give everything my best effort because I'm still in my head trying to make them proud in that way. I don't like shortchange or cut corners and stuff. That's just not my person.
right. True. Yeah, and like just to close that out is it just gave me like it just gave me perspective. It's just learning how to handle certain situations. So like I'm not too hard, I'm not too soft. It's like it's that perfect balance in the middle.
And you know what that middle ground is called? It's called being dad. I'm dad. You know what I mean? I'm the coolest dude in the world, and I rise to the occasion if it calls for me to be a
Right.
different person. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
You know, and I think we all strive to be approachable, bro. Like it's so much stuff like my wife has taught me, right? Like that's just like, you know, even with family and stuff, like, you know, things could happen and you want your kid to be able to tell you if something happened. They have to have a comfort level with you to share,
Right.
you know, this kid bullying me.
Right.
You know, every time I go to this place, this happens. You know, you want that to exist.
Yeah. 'cause
You know, but I didn't grow up like that. Like I didn't grow up even worried about that stuff, you know, but my wife, you know, has taught me you need to be, if something happened, you need Manny to be able to come and tell you like, yo, dad,
Yeah,
this
you
happened.
got to, because like you would be too much of a disciplinarian. Then like your kids, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna come to you because they're gonna feel like if I express this, they're more scared that I'm gonna get in trouble for even expressing these things versus coming to you and saying like I need help.
Right.
And you always want your kids to come to you and say you need help, because more important, we want to provide you help before like we scold you for certain things. And even now when we give lessons, like you might get in trouble for something and it's a conversation. Like you did this was wrong, but you did this and this was right.
Right.
Like just like if your kid get into a fight in school and he was defending himself, you don't want your kid to be fighting all the time, but I'm not going to scold you for defending yourself. You understand it's a time and it's a place for everything. Then we got the balance.
My dad used to scare me with that. Like every time I got into a fight, whether it was on our street or at school, he wouldn't have the immediate, like you would think your parent comes in and gets you for fighting at school, or you get into a fight on the street and then, the parent, different neighbors separate y'all. He'd be like, "Are you just for it?" He'll let you calm down. And then you'd be like, he gonna come talk to me. It'd be like a day. It'd be another day. And like by the time you done forgot about it, it's like that's when he want to talk about it. And I was like, I wonder what was the mindset in that, you know what I mean? But he came and talked to you when the time was right, and it was always kind of perfect because he let so much time pass.
He probably was getting his own mind right before he bring it to you.
Yeah, but I ain't never get in trouble for fighting either. My dad wanted us to be good people, but he ain't want to raise no punks.
Yeah,
I ain't never get in trouble for fighting. You know what I mean? But and he always wanted me to like, you naturally had, when you were a kid, you naturally have like bullies and different groups, and
right.
growing up in our time, the fear was like getting jumped. These kids is killing each other now, but like in our time, it was like, I'm a big dude. This is gonna probably take about 5 or 6 of y'all to do something to me anyway. But you feared that, like, you know what I mean? It was natural, like
Yeah, you weren't trying to get jumped.
you wasn't trying to get jumped, but
Yeah, I stomped out before this. Real red outside of Overbrook when you're in summer school. Bad job.
you got
We ain't
stomped out.
Yeah, definitely got stomped out.
We gotta go holler at him.
Nah, not no more. It's,
all right.
it's like 10 years plus.
You good with that? You gonna share that with your kids? Like,
No, because the nigga gonna think it's sweet. Like they might think like, man, we could stroll him.
chill.
Ash already think he could take me now.
He gonna probably be able to take you though.
No, he not. It's not. It's
He gonna be.
He don't try me. Like he say wild stuff. Like the other day we was getting into it. We was in the house. And he just was like, I'm gonna punch you in the face so hard, and he just kept saying it, right? So I'm like, he just keeps saying it like, and Ern on the phone, he laughing and laughing. He think it's funny. So I'm like, all right, well, come punch me in the face then. He won't, like, nah, cause he know, cause if he come over here, he going.
Listen, I'm telling you, Ash
going
gonna be
to sleep.
he gonna be
Cuz.
bigger than you.
That's cool. That's why you letting you know now. It's like lying. It's like everything got packs, bro. Like you gotta make it known now why he's small that you the king of the jungle. That's it.
Listen,
I'm in charge.
don't call me when he 15 and he German suplex you.
No,
And you
it's not gonna happen. I ain't gonna be like that John on the internet where you like you broke daddy back when the ball slammed his pop through the table.
Listen, bro,
Negative.
I'm just telling you, man. Don't give me no calls about how you light in the butt, man. You just you light, boy. You a little dude, man.
Nah, it ain't gonna happen, bro.
You know, Ash might be a linebacker or something.
Listen, we're gonna instill the respect first, cuz, and put your hands on me. We're gonna get old school. I bought you in this world.
I'll take you out.
That's like the old school dad line, cuz.
Man, that's the old school mom line.
Well, this probably the old school anybody line.
That's a fact.
But yeah, that's what we got for y'all this week. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, man, that's a wrap, man. Until next time.
All right.
More than that. More than that.